All right, the other day I tried to do a live, but I didn't have good service in that area. So it was good because I got to play around with this a little bit more. I've seen what it does well and what it doesn't. So as you can see here, I have a screen on top of the screen. And this is a lot like the Tesla setup, which is where I got the inspiration. Um, so now let's get into this. People are gonna say this is very distracting. Well, you can lower the brightness, and then it's not as bad. Uh, but this is, to me, so much better than anything that you could do to a car. All you really need is something to hook up to Bluetooth. But if you have an even older car, there's a piece on Amazon you can buy where it hooks up to the aux cable, and then there has like a little built-in, like a filter type, which prevents any like additional noise from like static or whatever frequencies that are interrupting the sound. So it's like, I forgot the name of it, but I could always, if you ask me in the comment section, I'll get you the exact piece that I bought. And then it has a Bluetooth connection, so that means you could upgrade any old car to have Bluetooth. And it was about $14. I bought it for a smart electric car I used to have, and it worked really well. Now, why do I use this as opposed to like a regular navigation? First of all, check this out. This baby has 5G. So this is the Galaxy Tab S Plus 5G with T-Mobile. It's only $20 a month to get unlimited internet. So I'm a big fan of T-Mobile personally, because they don't rip you off. They're very fair, for the most part. And out of all the major providers, to me, they're the ones that actually care about customer loyalty, etc. So now we have this baby, and let's say you're gonna go for a drive. What I love about this is also the multitasking. I can have like YouTube playing, but I could, obviously it has a touchscreen, but it also comes with an S Pen that clicks to the back of it. So I'm gonna get it. It actually just hangs out back here, just like, where'd it go? There we go. It just hangs out back there, and it's magnetic, and you can just get it. So if you're driving, you don't have to use your finger. It's easier to use an S Pen. But even better than that is this $20 device. It's an actual full-size keyboard. I mean, small mini keyboard, but it does pretty much everything a keyboard does. Oh, look, we got fireworks randomly happening in the middle of a block that I'm on. That's random. Also, I hope this doesn't last too long. So, the great thing about this is it's Bluetooth also. It can hook up while you're hooked up to other Bluetooth devices with the tablet. And now I can easily just click on the app that I want to go to. It even has tap functionality, so I don't even have to. This is very safe while you're driving. I recommend using this. And if you see, like, you could pretty much do everything without doing anything other than the little tiny right here, the trackpad. And then I'll go into split screen mode. And then I'll go into, can't go Netflix on the split screen, but you can do YouTube. I think these buttons actually stopped working. I gotta order one more. These things are kind of delicate, so if you throw them in your book bag, things do break on them, I've noticed. But it's so cheap, I just ended up buying more of them. There's nothing really on the market that I like more. So this baby has left click, right click, and then also left click, right click.
Digital gauges. So many pixels to play with. Beyond.
As you can see, that's hooked up. So like, this is back click right here. As you can see, it did that. And then if I want to go back to the split screen, I can also just go here, go to open split screen, double tap it, or single tap it, and then just tap that. And now you can also tap this and then go to switch, and that becomes your primary on the right and secondary on the left. That's obviously if you have your volume controls on top, which is the way I like to set it up. So that way I can turn it on and off with the buttons and volume on top if I ever need. The great thing about this keyboard is you could also control your volume here. Let's say you're listening to something and somebody's calling you on your phone. Now your phone's not hooked up to the system, so it'll go on and ring. So what you do is you press this, and if you can see, literally, it's one button that mutes it. And then you could also do the volume controls. They have up and down. Then they have a home button. You press home, the thing just goes home. So this thing is, to me, totally worth the 20 bucks. It's, to me, like, while you're driving, after about a week or maybe a couple of days, it just becomes like something you want to use. You don't want to use the S Pen as much because even while you're driving, you're going to be doing this, right? So it's going to be a little bit harder. You kind of want to, use your finger and put a thumb down. So that's why I'm not going to really bother with the S Pen. But the S Pen's amazing. I was using it earlier, and it has some charging features. So as you can see, it charges. All right, so what else do I love about this setup? Oh, so I hooked it up to these magnetic holders, and you could set it up however you like, but because it's magnetic, you want to be able to take it out of the car at night when you go home. This is $1,000+ device. I still recommend it because if you do anything to a car's sound system or hooking up the infotainment system, you're spending money. And if it's not like the best technology, what's the point, right? So this is literally going to give you better than Tesla functionality, because the Tesla has the navigation, but I hate what they did with their recent software update, where they will give you like it's like a weird window and then another window on top of a window. I hate what they did. I liked it before where they just had it split into two. And the new Tesla, some of the screen is always being used, like the Model 3 and the Y. Some of that screen is always being used for controls because it only has that one main panel. So everything is shared amongst the screen. So in this, I have my speed on the left. I have some information here. I have my backup camera still fully functional. I'm not blocking it. So that way I feel like it's much safer. In the past, I have blocked it, or I've done stuff, and then I have to quickly throw the screen down and make sure I could see behind me just to be on the safe side. Now let's say I have this going and then I have YouTube going. So we'll go to, actually I'm going to do this one first. Okay, open and split screen view. And then you just tap the middle of that. And now let's say I want to listen to some Doug DeMuro. I hate commercials, but I don't want to pay them money for YouTube Red. I actually had it for a couple months. It was alright. It wasn't bad. So now let's say I want to mute it. I could do that here. The other thing I could do while I'm driving, the navigation is going to speak to me, but the other thing I could do is set up the navigation to alerts only, so it only tells me police. Where's that button? I think it's from here somewhere. Alright, I can't find it right now. Actually, maybe if it's in full screen, it'll do it. Let's see. Oh, wow. I didn't even know you could do this, but you could split top and bottom. That's actually really cool. I would never do it, but that's really cool that it does that. What's this? Oh, it does little other features that I don't know, like a pop-up. You already created an app pop-up. Let's see. We go home. Yeah, I don't know what I did. All right, here we go. So now we're home in the app. See, I just press back. Or you could press back on this. So I'm not really, this is great. I love it. I think the only way the volume comes up is if you pick a destination. Here, let me see if I can search. Okay, let's say I want to go to Pio Pio. Here we go. See the volume right here? That's what that is. And it even works, I know, in half screen. So right now I have it set for alerts only, but I could obviously turn on the navigation sound. And let's see if I do split screen mode, which, dude, this is so cool. And then I like to have my navigation closer to me, like this. But the other thing you could do is you could literally click on it, right here, and then you can move it to make your navigation smaller and your screen bigger. And that's what I like to do. I like to do that kind of a split, and then I can actually play the video where the screen now has more video in it. And then the navigation's on the left. I think this is the best setup. And then when you're ready to go home, you get home, it literally takes a second to take this off, and now your car's back to factory. It's dope. Like, this is safe. Nobody can steal your radio. You know, all that money you invested, and then you get to use it at home. And I do use it while I'm gaming or something. What I do is I'll watch TV on the tablet. There's a bunch of apps now where you could watch TV if you have cable already. And then to put it back on, you just stick it back on, and that's it. I hooked up 2 metal pieces to the back, and I hooked up 2 magnetic things. Another great thing is I purposely blocked the vents, because in the summertime, the heat just hits it right away, and it gets really hot. And then the tablet itself is getting hot because you're using it. So when you put cool vents behind it, I'd blast the AC a little bit, even on one. I don't even actually blast it, but I'll put it to the first setting and just keep it on low at all times. It keeps everything cool. And it's really like, it's accidentally really smart. I didn't do it on purpose, but when I realized its purpose, I was like, wow, this is actually great, because now I know I'm not going to break my device by putting it when it's like 100 degrees outside and it's just beaming heat right off of the windshield. So that's another great feature. In the wintertime, I just have to be really careful that I don't use the vents for heat, because that could actually hurt the device. But I always could just put it on my feet and then the windshield, and this part would stay pretty room temperature. So as you can see with YouTube, you could play music. Obviously you can't be watching something while you're driving, but you could definitely listen to music on YouTube. People do that all the time. I would maybe even recommend getting YouTube Red at that point and just getting. But the great thing about this mouse is if you have commercials in the middle, which this guy doesn't really have a commercial because he is a walking commercial, but let's say I'm watching something with commercials. What would have commercials? Let's see, not this guy. Let's see, this one. Oh, here we go. See? So look at the accuracy of this. Right? Like, you can't even get that with your finger sometimes, especially while you're driving. So this is so much more accurate. And then I could just tap it like that. You see that? It's great. So this is a great thing to have. Only like $20-something, like $23. It depends on. I've gotten them as cheap as like. And now another feature that I just showed you is like the screen becomes small. So now you can really listen to what you're listening to and have a giant navigation screen. I mean, nobody on the market does this kind of stuff, right? And anybody can have this in any car they have. They just have to find a nice place for it. And if you have a really old car, you could always get the backup camera in the rear view camera, which it has like a little thing, and then block your main vents here. And literally you could find a million ways to install this thing. You could also go with the cheaper one, the smaller tablet, which I've had the 5e, and the 5e doesn't use a S Pen, and that's something I like to use a lot because I do lots of things with the S Pen. But for the car, it's perfect. The screen's a little smaller, but it works with this keyboard. All of them do. Androids work amazingly with this keyboard. I could do this on any of my cell phones, my Note 8, my Note 10 Plus. So this keyboard is something I highly recommend. It's like $20-something on Amazon. And what I also recommend is the magnetic holders. I think they're great. But again, you could custom fit anything the way you like as long as it's removable. But yeah, man, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask me. But this tablet is amazing. Like, literally the screen is so good. Now let me show you something crazy. Let's say I close everything. I close this too. How do you close it? look at the precision. This is so great. It's better than your finger, I'm telling you, because there's plenty of times I missed a little X and I like hit something else and then an ad pops up, like stuff like that. I don't have that problem with this keyboard. But let's say I go straight to, I want to go to Netflix. I could press, okay, let's see. I mean, sometimes I do need to use a second hand, but here we go. There's Netflix. Okay, hold on. There we go. Okay, I gotta add Netflix to the main, but let's say we do Netflix. And then this you have to kind of stream with, you can't use the tab, the pet tab, but you can use the, basically the left click, and then you have to just scroll on the mouse, on the trackpad. So let's say I want to watch something cool. Now you can't see the quality of the screen, but this baby is beautiful. And then I have it hooked up to the sound of the car as well. So you get a surround sound system in the car while you're like waiting for something, waiting for somebody. I wouldn't recommend driving and watching TV, even though I'm not going to say anything further. But basically, obviously, don't try this at home. I'm parked right now, so can't get in trouble with all the people that are going to police the crap out of me. But this thing is beautiful. It has a beautiful display. That's why I recommend getting the more expensive one. Because I literally use this like all day. I use it in the car. When I get home, I'll watch basketball on it. Like when the basketball season is happening, you can get apps. As long as you have cable at home, like I have Verizon at home, unfortunately, which I hate them. But they have the best internet service. So they give me that bundle, which I didn't want to pay for. But the good thing is, like, let's say I go to ESPN.com. Right? I could literally go to watch. And because I'm hooked up to Verizon at home, it lets me sign in and I could watch what's happening live, or I could watch something older. And since it's 5G, supposedly 5G, but yeah, it is 5G. So it will be a lot faster than regular data. And living in New York, that's another perk. Let's see how long it takes for this to load. It's not going to be super fast. It does take a minute because I'm going into their server, basically. They have this saved and it's communicating back and forth. If I watch live, it's a lot quicker. This is live. I'm pretty sure. Or maybe not. Yeah, bad example. All right, let's go to another channel. TNT. I also have Disney Plus, which is just like Netflix. But let's say I go to TNT. Let's see if TNT works on. Nope. Maybe I don't have 5G right now. That's what I hate. You never know if you have 5G or you don't. Like, it says 5G, but is it lying to you? And it says I have full bars. All right, let's go home. Do I press home again? Okay, let's go home. Let's press this button. Close everything. Now let's try again. ESPN. It seems like it's working. What day is today? Monday Night Football, yeah. Should work. But yeah, this is my setup. And this is, trust me, I've had a Tesla Model X P100D. And it's finally working. Yeah, it is 5G because it's streaming really clear and immediately once it started. So that was definitely a server issue communicating with ESPN. These apps are glitchy. Sometimes you have to restart the entire app, or once in a while I even have to restart my device. Sometimes, I don't know why, but that's what makes it work better. Now, obviously I could turn the volume up and let you guys hear it, but that's not really necessary, especially with Facebook and all their rules. But look, it started to it lagged a little bit behind. But overall, it's supposed to be decent speed. And yeah, so I could watch TV while I'm in the car. Also, there's this thing called Xbox Gameplay Cloud something, which you could play video games if you have like a Bluetooth controller. Or I would do a wired controller because the Bluetooth's always going to lag a little bit, and the less lag on a remote system, the better. But I'm not buying into that. Even if I have true 5G internet, I'm still going to have some delays because there's going to be latency due to server communication in general, especially with a remote device. But it wouldn't be bad to just have something to just have, like play around with. So I may get that. Oh, by the way, this also has little arrows built in on the bottom, and you can select your apps like this. And I think I'm more of a fan of this than that, but I think they work really well together. Oh, and then you have the enter button here. So instead of pressing the arrow, you can press enter. And look at this baby. It's so dope. But yeah, this is, to me, amazing. I love it. That's my Facebook right there. I could do like a quick little Facebook check. And yeah, that's it. That's my little system that I'm very, very happy and proud of. Back in the day when I was younger, I wished I had TV in my car, but I've had it for so long now. I've always had something. I used to have an iPad, and then I kept upgrading whatever system I've had. And to me, this system is legitimately better than any BMW. I don't care if it's a 8 Series. I don't care if it's a 750 Li. None of them are designed to do this because they're not designed to do this, right? So, of course, I don't want anybody crashing and watching movies while they're driving. But if you're responsible and you can turn the movie on and not watch it and just listen to it, let's say it's something you've seen already, and everybody else in the car can now watch it, which is great. So now you have entertainment that's like beyond what any car can offer. I know Netflix only works on while you're charging or while you're parked on a Tesla, which is good. It's safe. So, but at the end of the day, you got to be smart enough to know what's safe for you, right? And if you get into a newer car that has adaptive cruise control and autopilot, and you're on a long road trip, and there's nobody on the road, and the line markings are beautiful, yeah, you could watch a movie. Especially, I'm going to tell you something else. If you're ever using your phone in an emergency where you have to, you don't want to stop and not drive, understand how the eyes work. Your eyes have 30 degrees of peripheral vision up and down and left and right. That means when I'm staring at this, I have about 30 degrees up, down, left, right. If I'm looking at my phone down here, like right here, above 30 degrees, I don't see anything from my peripheral vision. So that's actually more dangerous. I've had people take their phone, put it up to the windshield, and then use it. Believe it or not, that's safer, even though that gets you a ticket immediately, because that's the law. That's actually safer, a lot safer. So when you have your screen pretty close to the windshield, but obviously not blocking the windshield, like when I'm driving, believe it or not, this does not block my view. But that's, again, everybody has to put this into whatever's best for them, but don't put it down here. Put it closer to the top, as close to the windshield as possible, because when you're looking at the screen, even in the Tesla or whatever, you want to have 30 degrees of like viewable area. And that way what'll happen is, if God forbid somebody jams on their brakes, believe it or not, you can test this for yourself. You'll actually see it immediately. Just focus on something here while you're driving. You'll always see it. So that's a little tip from me on how you can not crash. But definitely don't use your phone, obviously. Don't watch a movie while you're driving unless you're on private roads, wink wink. And yeah, this is my little review of how easy it is to upgrade any car's system. And now I got all these gauges here. Tells me how much climate control I'm using. Here, let's turn on the climate control. It gives me all my basically my energy usage, and I got that without blocking that screen. I still have my main everything else. This, to me, I'm having more fun in this car than I had in my Tesla. The only thing I miss is the autopilot. But honestly, like, this car drives so much easier. It's so much easier to drive than the Model X. The Model X was a hard car to drive. And the autopilot only works in perfect roads. Mostly Long Island was great, but you can't really drive the autopilot in Queens highways. They're doing so much road work that you can't. So, in a way, this car is, to me, just as good. It's 100% electric. It's cheaper, more efficient. I don't really require, a car with 6 passengers mostly. And then if I ever do, I have other cars that basically will, meet that need. So I wouldn't recommend getting an old Leaf because the battery on the Leaf is terrible. It's air cooled. They break down after a while. Like, they just start to deteriorate due to just over time, as many times as you charge them when you cycle the batteries. They don't have any kind of a management system, really. So getting a Tesla, to me, is the best. And they don't have the charging network that Tesla has. So, yeah, if you're going to buy an electric car, definitely buy a Tesla. Don't even mess with the Jaguar or any of those. Unless, I guess you only need it for commute. If anybody wants the Jaguar F-Pace, the E-Pace, SUV type, I can get that for you for a decent price. It's about like $700 a month for like a $70,000, $60,000 car, 65, 70. And if anybody wants that, hit me up. I'm talking about lease. I would never finance a Jaguar I-Pace. It would be the same problem that I'm having with this car, where next time this battery goes down, so the first time the battery went down, I actually changed it under warranty because it broke down in enough time before their limitations. Even though they should change it for everybody, they don't. They're jerks. So luckily, I made the cut and they changed it for me. The Nissan hotline that comes with this car, super helpful, amazing people. So at least that was a great experience. They were very helpful when it was time for me to change my battery. But again, maybe you could buy a really crappy one for like $4,000. Not crappy, but the battery that's completely deteriorated, because these cars have horrible resale value. And then you could just buy a new battery for like $6,000 to $7,000 installed. And now for $12,000, you get a nice little car. But again, the overall range is only like 60, 70 miles per charge. In the winter, it's like 55 miles. So, not a big fan of the range on this car. But for New York City, it is more than enough. I've done so much driving in a day. And then I do have a backup car in case I need it. I just drop the car home and then pick up my gas car, which I actually haven't driven that gas car in over a month. So far, I haven't really needed it. I think I drove a gas car. Yeah, I did drive another gas car when I needed the range. I drove it once in a month. So that, to me, is a great alternative. If you have a gas car already that you own, you can kind of retire that one. And you can get an electric car that's pretty good. And there's a lot of good cars coming out now that have 150 plus miles of range. So those are the ones I would get. But yeah, I like to talk about a lot of different things and not focus on one thing, which is why I'm not as good as Doug DeMuro, who's very focused, very good at what he does. Anyway, this is the entire video. I'm pretty sure nobody's watching it till the end. If you watch it till the end, hit me up. I'm going to actually send you a present. I'm not even kidding. So, but if you just watch the end and you're lying, I'm still going to send you the present because I can't tell the difference.